Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Saturday morning. Happy Saturday morning. How is everybody doing this morning? Did you have a good week? I hope that you did. I had a pretty good week. Worked all week. Just working away. We've got a bunch of trips planned coming up and things like that. So I'm in my work mode right now, and then I will be in my play mode this summer. So yay for that. But yeah, working and reading. That's pretty much all I've been doing. I'm up to about 9 books so far this month of April already, which is awesome. I just have been switching between TV shows and reading. And honestly, it's just one TV show I've kind of been binge watching. It's this Australian, New Zealand TV show. It's like a dating show. It is super cheesy and super corny, but I've been watching the crap out of it. Anywho, we're here to talk about the book that has been all over my FYP. It was highly, highly anticipated by me, and that is Elsie Silver's new book. It's called Wild Love, and it is a Rose Hill book. So this is the first book in the Rose Hill series for her. Now, we all know the Chestnut Springs series. It is one of my all-time favorite romance novel series. Well, I love those men in Chestnut Springs series. I've raved about them on this channel. They're incredible. If you have not read the Chestnut Springs series by Elsie Silver, look it up. I'm trying to remember what the first one's called. Is it Flawless, the first one? You've got like Hopeless, Powerless, Flawless. They're so good. So unbelievably good. And so I had insanely high expectations for Wild Love. And you know where that usually lands Lauren. It wasn't bad. It was not bad. It took me a little bit longer than I had hoped to get into it. It took me at least 35 to almost maybe even 40% of the book to get into it. I think just because it was a new world to be built and new characters. Now, I'm really excited for the second book in this series because I love West, and I think him and this country music star are going to be just awesome together. And I'm excited for West's story. But for the first book, which was Wild Love, you had to get to know a whole new area, a whole new set of characters, all new people's lives. And I think that that's why all of us who love Chestnut Springs series by this author so much kind of struggled to get into Rose Hill, because in our mind we were kind of still in Chestnut Springs vibes and area, and this is a whole different book. This series is all about single dads, which I think is super fun and cool. And we meet Ford in this first book. Ford is a billionaire who kind of grew up in this Rose Hill area. It's like a lakeside area, and it's beautiful and scenic Canada, like Chestnut Springs. And he finds out late that he's a father. Basically, a 12-year-old girl ends up knocking on his front door and saying, "Hey, you donated sperm 12 years ago. You're my dad." Her real father had passed away very recently, and her mother was going through a depressive episode and unable to take care of her because of the loss of her father. And she kind of had nowhere to go, and she didn't want to go to state care. So she found him and basically researched him up, found out that he was a billionaire, and went and knocked on his door and said, "Hey, you've got to help us." So he takes in the little girl, her name's Cora, and he actually gets her mom some help. a like live-in facility to help her with this insane depressive episode that she's having because of the death of her husband. And Cora lives with him while her mother is in this hospital, which is the majority of the book. And he runs into his best friend's little sister, Rosalie. And Rosalie's got some stuff going on in her life. She just got fired from her job because she was going to go to HR about her boss for sexual assault. And he got to HR first and kind of told a different story. And so she was let go, and she's really down on herself. And she's in this miserable relationship that she doesn't really want to be in, you know? She's just kind of in it for the comfort levels. So she's running away, essentially, to Rose Hill to stay with her brother for a little while. And Ford and her were like frenemies growing up all through childhood and high school. Like, they had each other's back, but they always bickered and fought. And they thought that they hated each other, but they really didn't. They were really secretly both in love with each other. And it's a really sweet story. Like I said, by 30 or 40%, it really gets rolling. So with this one, you have to give it the time. That first 25%, I wasn't sure, guys. I was not sure if I was going to like this book. I've read other Elsie Silver books besides the Chestnut Springs. I tried to read Off to the Races, and I don't know if I didn't give that one enough time or not, but I did not enjoy Off to the Races that much. So I was really, really worried. I was like, what if Chestnut Springs is the only good thing this author writes, and I am just going to be so disappointed by this book. But I was not disappointed. Did it take me a little while to get into? Yes. But like I said, I think that I was still in like some sort of, I saw Elsie Silver, so I was in some sort of Chestnut Springs mind space, and then I had to get to know the characters, and I had to get to know the place and everything all over again, just like starting, it's a new series, new people, and so that took me a little bit to do. But once the truck got rolling, once I got to know these people, I am assuming Sebastian is possibly going to have a story. I don't know if he's a dad. And she told us that every one of these books was going to be a single dad story. So I don't know if Bash is a dad, but he is on the bowling team with Ford and West. And I assume that possibly he's going to get a story. That's kind of how it was made to feel, like these three buddies, you know what I mean? So we will see. We will see who the third book will be about. But I do know that, like I said, the first book is Ford's story with Rosie, and I did enjoy it. I actually ended up really, really liking it and gave it 4 stars. And then the next book I'm really excited for, the snippet, you guys, at the end of Wild Love for the next book, which is West's story. So good, where he has to protect her from a bear because she's being an idiot and trying to take a social media video with the bear, and he has to like jump in and put his body over top of her to protect her. I was eating it up. I was so mad when I realized, well, I knew it was a snippet, but I was so mad when I got to the end of the snippet and I was like, no, I want this now. Now I have to wait months for it. So I think that I'm really, really going to like the next book in this Rose Hill story line. Yeah. But it was good. I had my doubts in the beginning. I did. I even commented on someone's TikTok who was like, this is disappointing. I was like, I'm 22% in, and I kind of am on the same vein as you. But then I did go back and re-comment, hey, I pushed through. I'm halfway through the book now, and I'm really freaking into it. So, yeah, if you just push through the first half of this book, it is worth the squeeze. I thought it was a really fun book. I really love Ford Grant. He's a great book boyfriend type character. Yeah, it got a 4-star out of me. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that I pushed through. So Wild Love by Elsie Silver. If you've read the Chestnut Springs books, go into it with an open mind. Do not DNF it until you get at least halfway through. And I think that you will thank me later. I love you guys so, so much. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and sharing my videos. Always appreciated. And we will be back on Monday. I started a new Al Kennedy series, the Avalon Bay series. And we're gonna talk about that. So love you guys. See you later.